Welcome! We're starting our next challenge run on Disgaea, this time on Disgaea 4 complete on the PlayStation 4. The rules of this challenge are as follows. No story related characters. If a character dies during battle, they will be deleted, including their equipment, and we can no longer create a new character of the same type. For example, if we have a Prinny and it dies, we can no longer create a Prinny. So we need to be careful as we have a limited number of deaths. If we lose a battle, our run is over and the challenge is considered a fail. Lastly, we cannot use Item World to level up our equipment. With that out of the way, let's start up a new game. We can't create any characters just yet, so we'll jump right into the first stage. Luckily, the first few stages are basically just tutorials, so we should be okay. We do get to start with a couple level 1 characters, so we'll stick with those for now and we'll see how we go. They also start with some basic weapons, so we're actually doing a decent amount of damage already, and we can defeat the Prinnies in about 2 hits. At this point in the game, can't actually go back and repeat earlier stages just yet, so we're going to have to keep moving forward. I would prefer to beat the next few stages by sending out a single unit that's out of the enemy attack range, and then have the enemies move closer to our base panel one by one. We're not having too much luck with that, so we're just going to do a single attack with our Cat Saber, as they have the highest attack since they're now level 2. Fuck! And we almost lost our fighter as well. If we didn't take him out with that counter, our fighter would have been done for. Now that we've taken care of that stage, we're in desperate need of some defensive equipment. Also, the campaign HQ isn't available just yet, so we can't even delete a character. Until then, we'll just carry around this dead cat, I guess. This stage is kinda weird in the sense that it's trying to teach you about lifting and throwing, but if you just place a unit in the center of the stage, the last enemy will just come straight down to you. For the next stage, we could take advantage of the EXP bonus from the Geo panels, but honestly, I think we should just focus on completing the stage, so we'll just chain the Geo blocks to do some damage. Now that we've completed the tutorial stages, we're going to quickly go back and grind up a little bit. We've still got some units that are level 1, and I really don't want to get another unit killed this early on. Okay, we've gained a few levels and we're ready to continue. We're going to leave our units close to the base panel and just hope to draw the enemies out one by one. I'm mostly concerned about our magic users since they have very low defense and HP. Thankfully, Axel wasn't too tough and we got through the stage without losing anyone. We finally unlocked the campaign HQ, so we're ready to say goodbye to our Cat Saber. Goodbye, Sardine Thief. I'll be honest, you were kinda useless. Time to recruit some new allies. I'm thinking we'll get a few ranged units this time. We'll get a green skull, a blue skull, and lastly, a thief. We'll give our new units some basic equipment and then get everyone up a few levels before continuing. So I've got our 3 new units up to level 4, and we also have 2 level 5s and a level 7. We've got Axel on our side for this one, so we can kinda just let him do his thing while we attack from a distance. I want to create a couple more melee units this time before moving on to the next stage. The orcs have an interesting ability that increases their stats by 20% per unit of the same type. So basically, if we have 3 orcs in play, it'll be an increase of 60%. We'll give them some basic equipment and then level them up. We're also going to avoid using the thief for now until we can get some better equipment. When I was training them on an early mission, they nearly died, so we'll use them a bit later on. We've got a pretty full team at this point, so we're ready to take on the next stage. It's unfortunately a boss stage as well. When playing Disgaea normally, a really good strategy is to pick up the boss with a weak unit so they can't attack. We can't really do that here since we can't let anyone die. Emizel has a pretty high intelligence stat, so he can probably one-shot us, so we'll need to be super careful here. We're just lucky that we were able to take out Emizel in a single turn. Well, that's the first chapter complete, but we did lose 1 unit unfortunately. We'll spend the rest of our hell on some new equipment and then jump straight into the first stage. One thing to note about this stage is that the slimes have a defensive bonus towards attacks that don't have elemental damage, so we'll need to use magic to take them out. The good thing about this Disgaea game is that when you defeat an enemy monster, you actually unlock them yourself. So why don't we create our own slime? We'll be using him mostly to tank damage from melee units. Let's quickly get our new slime trained up and then we'll jump into the next stage. Our slime is now level 5 and we're ready to attempt the next stage. I say attempt, but a reminder that if we lose a battle, it's game over and the challenge is considered a fail. The next few stages have some very basic geo puzzles just to accustom the player. If you haven't played Disgaea 4, geo blocks work a little different to geo symbols. Units can stand on them, and if the blocks are destroyed, they will take fall damage based on the height that they fall. Different blocks can be stacked vertically, which also stack the effects. Lastly, if 2 or more blocks of the same color are placed adjacent to each other, the blocks will start a chain reaction. I think that's most of the basics. With that out of the way, it looks like we've cleared most of the enemies. So I think that's the stage. As I mentioned, units will take fall damage, so I'm sure you can guess what we need to do here. That's 3 blocks high, so the enemies will take a substantial percentage of their health. RIP Maxim. This stage is kind of annoying if you don't have a unit with a really high jump stat, which we don't. We have to play the stage properly, which I'm really not about that life, but whatever. So once we're past the first barrier, we can just take the green geo block and create a chain reaction to knock down the other blocks. Pretty simple from there, to be honest. Next stage wasn't so simple. I feel like we've severely underprepared for this stage. I'm not using any kind of guide or walkthrough or anything like that to help me play the next stage, so I kinda just have to hope for the best. That's also why I'm trying to create a good variety of units. This is quite a clever geo setup, so we can't use ranged attacks on the green panels, and these are all melee units. On the blue side, HP and SP are switched, and these guys regenerate SP each turn. What's worse is that most of our team has very low SP. Initially, I kept some ranged units off the panels so they could use magic from a distance. Once I got to the geo blocks, I thought it would be a good idea to swap them rather than destroy them. It almost backfired here. I had already used the fighter and my healer to attack, and our fighter was on 4 SP, meaning he was going to die on the next attack. Luckily, we were able to send a mage across to take out the geo block. Crisis averted. Moving on to the next stage. We're given 1 set of geo blocks, so we can take out 1 path if we choose to. We can then block off the other path with our slime, as the enemies don't have any elemental attacks. We're getting close to the next boss stage now, so we'll create another character. This time a female fighter. We'll then level them up and give them some equipment. This stage is already looking like it's going to be trouble. The yellow panels have an enemy boost, so we'll die pretty quickly if we move in without planning this. We'll throw the disperse damage across. Instead of leaving the effect on, we're going to destroy one of the geo blocks and create an even longer chain. Dude, sometimes I even astound myself with how smart Well, there probably wasn't much we could do, unfortunately. Someone had to die to take out the geo block. Okay, we're really starting to lose too many. Oh, why? I'm not going to finish this challenge, am I? Thankfully, we didn't lose anyone else after that. Rest in pieces, Stanley and Claire. We're going to create a blue and green mage to replace the ones that we lost. Then, like usual, we'll level them up a little bit and give them some equipment. Time for the boss. We're going to keep our units close so we can avoid the warp panels. As soon as one of our units gets separated, they will die. Fuka has a pretty high attack stat. It will one-shot most of our units, and even the ones that survive are most likely going to counter, and then as soon as Fuka counters, they will die. So either way, someone's probably going to die here, right? I'm not really sure who Fuka is targeting. Hopefully it's not one of our weak... Oh, god damn it. Okay, that should be the last unit that we loot. Oh, whatever. We didn't eat him anyway. Well, that's the chapter complete. How's our death count? If you liked the video, be sure to subscribe for the next part.